Hello, Netroots. My name is Justin Jones, and I hail from the afflicted state of Tennessee. Because the truth be told, the former Confederacy continues to be a birthplace of bad ideas. A lot of this conference, we've heard a lot of sessions of people talking about this Project 2025. And we know that this is not a hypothetical threat, but is a very real and present danger. Because as I said yesterday, Project 2025 is Tennessee 2024. It is Texas 2024. It is Louisiana 2024. It is Arkansas 2024. And if we are not careful, these forces of cynicism that say they want to take our nation back, they are taking us back to a time that we don't want to go to. In Tennessee, this Project 2025 agenda looks like librarians in Williamson County, Tennessee, being threatened and removed for refusing to take off the shelves banned books. It looks like the most restrictive anti-abortion law in this nation. It looks like a state where it's easier to get a gun than it is to vote because you need an ID to vote, but you don't need an ID to get an assault weapon. It looks like $1.2 billion corporate tax cuts, the largest in our state's history, even though people are suffering from starvation wages, poverty salaries, denied health care. It looks like our Speaker of the House threatening to refuse acceptance of federal education money, threatening to defund our schools, threatening to say that we are going to go back to the times of George Wallace, of politicians standing in the doorways of schools and universities between the federal government because they don't want to accept all students because of their sexuality or their immigration status. Tennessee 2024 looks like a state that tries to silence any voice of dissent, even if you're an elected official. A state that says that we'll shut off your microphone, and so you have to bring a megaphone to the House floor to be heard. Tennessee 2024 looks like a state that has proliferated xenophobic, transphobic, homophobic, Islamophobic attacks, anti-Semitic attacks against our community, holding on to a system of plantation politics. But I'm not just here to share bad news with you, because we know where we live. We know the time that we're in. But the hope that I see, the blueprint that I see, is that despite all of this, we are building a movement in Tennessee that is raising up a generation of young people who have scared my Republican colleagues so much so that they've changed the rules of our legislature. That now a paper sign this size is more threatening to my Republican colleagues than an assault weapon, because this is banned in our committee rooms now. It's a state that has now created a ticket system to sit in the gallery. It's a state that says now we're going to end session early because thousands of mothers and students and teachers took to our House gallery to say that we are not going to go by silently and allow you to take us back into this politics of regression that seeks to bow down to the interests of the gun industry. But we're going to say that the NRA, which claims to be the oldest civil rights organization, is neither civil nor right. I had a lot written to say, but I want to say something else, because I think I'm just feeling the spirit here is that this time has a lot of anxiety, and it's a lot of trauma that we're dealing with. Working in a legislature in which every day you walk in and your spirit, your physical being, your mental health is under attack is hard. It's something that says that you work with folks who don't see you as equal, who want to destroy you by any means necessary. But they don't know the legacy that we stand in. That we may come there as one, but we stand as 10,000. That each time we walk into the chamber and the speaker says you cannot speak, he does not know that we come from a people who refuse to be bowed down. That we come from a folks who said that you will say get back, but we'll say fight back. Or people like my grandma Harriet who will say, hell no, baby, we're not going back. And so what we must do in this time is to say to these forces that we also have a blueprint of liberation and of resistance. This blueprint says to us that when they organize and they fight so hard to silence us, we celebrate. Because you know what that means? It means that we're being effective and impactful. Because if what we were doing did not make an impact, they would not be trying so hard to silence and stop us. If what we were doing was not making an impact, they would not be trying so hard to crush our movements, to attack mothers and children who are taking to the state capitol, to attack lawmakers and expel lawmakers. They would not be trying so hard to stop our movement if we were not impactful. And so that is something to celebrate in, is that what they mean for evil sometimes can be used for good. You can go from being expelled on a Thursday and walk back into your seat on a Monday. I tell you from experience. And so my hope to you, to say to you all, though, is a message from the future, is that Tennessee is a testing ground. And so my message to you is that we must sound the alarm, that we are canaries in a coal mine, that we know what it's like to live in a state that has unchecked power, consolidated power under a Republican supermajority. Project 2025 is about consolidating power underneath the president. In my state, we consolidated power underneath the Speaker of the House, in which every year since 2012, when Republicans have taken over, they have gradually eroded the power of our judiciary, eroded the power of our executive branch. And because that's how fascism comes. It does not come in one bang, but it comes with gradual erosions that if we are not careful, will continue to continue rise, and eventually you'll find yourself in a state in which you don't know what rights you have left to fight back, because they made it a crime to protest. They made it a crime to dissent. They made it a crime to write our journalists. They made it a crime to speak up. And so we don't know what's happening now, but no matter what they say, we have found solidarity in each other that says to these forces of fascism, to these forces of authoritarianism, that we are going to create a blueprint to defeat you here, because it can be a blueprint for this nation if we organize in the South. Netroots next year is going to be in Louisiana. I think that in itself is a message that we cannot forget the South. That in itself is a welcome call, as we saw in 1964, that we must come to the South and lift up what's going on. But I know, as one of my friends told me, sometimes these blue states are a little not honest about where they really stand either. Sometimes people like Eric Adams may be just as bad as my governor and my speaker. And so we have to be honest about that as well. Is that these forces of regression, these forces of extremism, whether they are overt and open as they are in Tennessee, or more sophisticated and subtle, we will resist them wherever they are found. Wherever you try and take away the rights of young people, the rights of mothers, the rights of women, the rights of femme folks, the rights of our transgender community, the rights of our Islamic and Muslim brothers and sisters, the rights of our Jewish brothers and sisters, the rights of our indigenous siblings, we will fight you. Because if you come for one of us, you come for all of us. Southern segregationists had a saying, and we heard this a lot. They would say that the South will rise again. We heard this, George Wallace. The South will rise again. But I come here in the legacy of a new movement that says the South will rise anew. That someone who comes here as a Black, Indigenous, Pacific Islander, representing the most diverse district in Nashville, says that the South can rise anew, that we can reclaim these spaces, and that we must reclaim these spaces. People tell us, oh, let the South secede, let them do their own thing. Are you willing to discard millions of lives of people? Are you willing to leave your working class folks, your community, your loved ones behind? If this was easy, we would not be doing this, but this is precisely why we are acting in such these ways, because what is at stake is so high. What is at stake is so costly that we have no choice but to disrupt, but to show up for each other, but to stop these forces of authoritarianism from taking us backwards in the places that they think they have a hold on. Because if they were so powerful, they would not have to use gerrymandering and voter suppression and felony disenfranchisement to maintain power. These are not powerful folks, these are fragile folks. They're so fragile that this session they passed the law to increase penalties on what they call divisive concepts. The truth is, divisive concepts are concepts that make mediocre white men uncomfortable. How is it that in Tennessee we can't talk about divisive concepts, but you can put up statues of division in the form of the Confederacy and white supremacy? How is it that we can't talk about divisive concepts, but you've divided our state, split our city into 3 parts to create control of one county, to have a Republican in Congress? You've taken away our voice at the city council level, taken away our voice at the state legislature, threatened to remove our judges, threatened to remove our prosecutors because they will not feed into your agenda of mass incarceration. How do you say we're banning divided concepts when you have created a divided society of have and have-nots, when you have created division in our state? Division that says we're going to pass corporate tax cuts but keep minimum wage at $7.25. How are you going to say you're going to ban divisive concepts when you yourself have divided our legislature to so that there is no one besides wealthy white men representing your party because everyone else has been run out? Everyone else who has a different agenda, a different experience has been run out of your party. How will you talk about banning divisive concepts when you are the exemplar of division? I come from a new South, Tennessee, a South that says that yes, Tennessee is the birthplace of the KKK, but it's also the birthplace of the Nashville student movement, where young people rose up to make our state the first state to desegregate our lunch counters. And it's our time to rise up again. I believe that we can build a new South, and in so doing, build a new nation. But we must do it in deep solidarity with each other. So when we come to Netroots in Louisiana, let's put our working boots on. Let's get to work and hit these streets. Let's let those governors and all those extremists in Louisiana know who have profited off of mass incarceration, who've brought back the new Jim Crow, that we come in a spirit of liberation that says we will fight you in the South. We will fight you in D.C. from the State House to the White House. We will not bow down to fake dictators. But we will rise up time and time again. We will rise up, and I know it's hot out there in Baltimore, but baby, it's time to turn up the heat of justice in this state, in this city. We're gonna rise up, tear it down if we have to, build something back new again, turn it right side up again, turn it around, pick it up, jump up and down, whatever we have to do. We are going to build an earthquake to shake this nation forward. And so power to the people, power to the people. I'm about to burn up in this jacket, so power to you all. Bless y'all. I'll see you all in Louisiana. I'll see y'all in the streets. I'll see you in the State House. Power to the people.